Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, That Model Railway Guy, for a quick review video. This is a bit of a bonus one today, as once again Accurascale got in touch with me and asked if I'd like to have a look at their brand new Siphon G. They've actually sent over 3 examples in different liveries for me to show off, including one of their exclusive models too, so hopefully we'll be able to see some of the differences from across the range. As before with the Class 37 review, Accurascale did send these to me for free, but likewise I am also free to say what I like about them. They have no editorial control over this video at all, so even though I haven't had to pay for these, I will still be giving you my honest opinion on them. And also, if you don't trust what I'm saying for any reason, well, hopefully the close-up shots I'm about to show you will give you a good enough view so you can make your own mind up, and you can just ignore whatever I'm saying in the background. So let's jump straight in. These were first announced right at the end of 2021, so certainly not the longest wait we've had for a new model, and the price of these is currently listed at £54.95. That actually seems quite reasonable, considering that this is a brand new tooling, especially when we've got other manufacturers charging more for much older rolling stock models. These vans, of course, started their lives on the GWR, originally being used for transporting milk around, I believe. I won't pretend I'm an expert on these particular vans, so there's a link in the description to Accurascale's website where they've done a full blog on the history of the Siphon G. The one thing I will say though is that they had a very long service life and made it all the way through to the 1980s, which has provided Accurascale with opportunity to model these in a variety of different liveries, so let's take a look at some of those now. Starting off with the earliest livery then, this is the version in the Great Western Brown. You can see on the side we've got the GWR shirt button logo there. That's been printed really nicely, as has the number and Siphon G underneath it. And just as a note, I believe Accurascale are doing these with multiple running numbers in each livery too, so that's a great bonus if you want more than one of these. The ends of the vans also have more little printed details too, in that sort of more elaborate font there, and you might just be able to see that down on the sole bar there's even more tiny writing down there, which again is all really nice and sharp. We've got a lot of great detail on the underframe here too. You can see the axle boxes have been picked out in pale blue, it looks like. I have to admit, that's not something I've ever seen before, but that said, I am far from an expert on the GWR, and I'm pretty sure that Accurascale will have done more research than me. Obviously, we've got the nice moulded planking on the side of the body too, with the vents higher up as well. Also, I don't know how well it picks up on camera, but we do have really tiny little door hinges. I think they're just moulded on, but they're very finely detailed. There's also various handrails over the model too. Those are separately fitted metal parts, and they look great as well. The one thing to note about this particular version is it's the only one I've got here that has a white roof. Obviously, it's a bit difficult to see on the white background at the moment, but hopefully you'll get a better view of that later on. Moving on to the British Railways Carmine version now, this is a very simple livery, but again with nicely printed details. You can see the running number and then the info underneath it there, again printed very nicely. There's also the Siphon G marking too, and despite this being a really small printed detail, it's good to see it's nice and consistent across those moulded wooden planks. If you look closely as well, you'll notice several little detail differences across the different versions. I think the main one that stands out to me is the different brake lever. That's a completely different piece from the GWR version, and of course there's lots of differences when it comes to the underframe detail as well. Just quickly looking at the ends of the vans as well, we do of course have sprung buffers here. Like the Class 37 I took a look at recently, they've got a nice amount of resistance to them as well. And before you all say it, yes, I know sprung buffers don't really make any difference, but on a model of this pedigree, it's of course nice to have them included. The main thing I want to mention here though is the corridor connections. These really surprised me because rather than being rigid plastic pieces, they actually have some flex to them. I'm guessing that they're made of rubber, but the detail on them is really good. So much so that I genuinely didn't realise these weren't just standard plastic parts initially. Finally, let's take a quick look at the last version I have here, which is one of the departmental livery versions. This one is actually an Accurascale Exclusive, I believe. This is painted in the really nice olive green colour, and again we've got more differences on this one. Firstly, down the side of the body, we've got these square metal panels along the lower half, which I imagine is something that was added to these later in their life. Also, this version doesn't have the corridor connection that I was just talking about, and you can see where it's been plated over. We do have little printed hazard panels though, which again just shows that this is a much more modern livery. I just thought I'd give you a quick look at the underside of the Siphon G here, just because there is so much going on. Despite that, none of it feels delicate at all, even with the brake rigging and those separately fitted parts. In fact, I'd say the models as a whole feel really nice and sturdy, and they've got a decent amount of weight to them too, coming in at around 280 grams each. There's yet more impressive printing on the sides too, with the most noticeable being this big Enparts lettering with more writing underneath that. There's also the hump shunt warning too. At this point I think they were used for moving spare loco parts around, so presumably the depots didn't want anything getting damaged. And then at the end of the van, we've got various bits of information in a variety of different fonts and sizes there. So not only is the printing really good to replicate this at such a small scale, but Accurascale have obviously done the research to recreate these faithfully. So yeah, another really nice livery here, again offering something completely different from the other two vans. The only other thing I think there is to mention is that you do get a detail pack with the Siphon G that has some screw link couplings and some extra pipe work to fit if you want to. The main thing you'll probably notice though is the two magnetic close couplings that you also get, which is a really nice feature. These models do come with standard NEM tension locks, and here you can see what the gap looks like with those. That said, it's a really quick job to fit in the magnetic close couplers, and here you can see it's brought the vans much closer together. That's a really nice feature, and it's great of Accurascale to include those with the models rather than having to buy them separately. So obviously here I've got the Siphon Gs on my small shunting layout Pickwick yard. Normally I would give these a test run on the larger modular layout, but as you may have seen from some of my recent videos, it's currently going through a major scenic upgrade. Still, that gives me the opportunities to show off the running capabilities of the Siphon G. As I say every time Pickwick Yard is in a review video, this layout is made entirely of second-hand Hornby set track from the 90s, so it's not the best running line in the world. However, the Siphon G is running really nicely despite that, thanks in part to the decent weight, but also it's a very free-running piece of rolling stock too. So I do hope you've enjoyed this close-up look at the Siphon G. Thank you so much to Accurascale for letting me borrow these, and hopefully you guys have found this video useful. I promise I will be doing something that isn't an Accurascale review very soon, so don't worry, there will be something a little bit different coming up shortly. For now though, thank you so much for watching this video. If you've enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button too, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!